G'day, welcome back to the CooCast. My name is Nick. Today we are talking about Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 4, The Last Starks. It's not a battle episode, it's one of the kind of getting together, getting people together. It's a character-driven episode, but I will put this out there. My favorite episode of the season so far. You know what? Actually, on the back of the last episode, I wasn't 100% sure what I was expecting. I didn't expect it to jump straight into Cersei right away. Obviously, I thought they were going to take a little bit of time to get to King's Landing. There is a little bit of teleporting involved, I'm not going to lie there, but it wasn't so jarring that I had a problem with what was going on. I guess they have to get through a crap load of story to basically get us to King's Landing. So they're being consistently inconsistent, at least in these last two seasons. They are jumping around the map like madmen. So I will just let that slide. It's not bothering me like the way Gendry ran back from the middle of the north. I'm going to let this slide. That's probably my biggest gripe for this episode is a lot of teleporting. But peppered with all those inconsistencies, there were some great dramatic elements in this episode that I truly, truly enjoyed. Not the least of being a lot of hilarious comedic moments, particularly from our old mate Tormund, who just steals the scene. It steals the scenery every time. Steals the scenery. He chews the scenery every time he's in shot. And he has some golden moments in this episode. But let's get to the top of the story. We'll go from the top, basically. So we are back in Winterfell. We are doing the somber note right off the back of episode 3, the Long Night, which was... I have my gripes with the episode. I didn't go back and watch it. I wasn't particularly thrilled of going back to watch that episode. It was a little bit, I don't know, maybe I was a bit too traumatized by what was going on in the episode. It just was a bit too much for me to get into. So I didn't go back and watch it again. Maybe I would have felt a little bit differently about it, but for the most part, there were some gripes I had about that episode. One of them being is very dark, but more so than that, it was a lot of the strategy involved that really bothered me about that episode. It wasn't so much about the little bits and pieces of drama that were going on, which were kind of cool. I did enjoy some of the bits and pieces, like the crypt thing. That was kind of cool. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the stuff with I enjoyed all the stuff with Arya, I thought. But what bothered me the most was the fact that just things have wrapped up so quickly. Is that the end of the Night King? Is that it? We're done? I get we've been building this person up to be the big bad, Voldemort as it were, the big bad for the whole last 7-8 seasons, and he's dispatched with a knife to the belly. Seems a little bit convenient, if you ask me. However, I wasn't that interested to go see the last episode. I get that they put a lot of work into it. I get it. But I just wasn't all that keen to watch it. But this episode had everything that I kind of like about Game of Thrones, and I think the writers knew that. It was a little fan servicey in some bits, but I still enjoyed the heck out of it. All right, so let's go. We start off the battle, basically the Battle of Winterfell. We see, they're going to light up Jorah, and we see Dany leaning over Jorah, give him a little kiss on the head. We got Lyanna Mormont. She's also dead, and I think Jon was standing over her body, and they light up the funeral pyre and they set these people ablaze, and then we transition pretty quickly to the hall, the Great Hall, where everybody's sitting, having a great time, just eating around. Actually, it's super quiet to begin with, and I think Dany kind of breaks the ice by basically naming Gendry the Lord of some place, and everybody's like, "Yeah, Gendry, Lord of whatever," good on him. I guess he got his due, It was a bit of a misdirect. You have basically Dany bringing up the fact that, Robert Baratheon wanted to kill her dad, which he didn't, but he basically killed the Targaryens. And so I kind of get that. And then you kind of think, oh no, what's going to happen here? But in the end, she pulls through and she gives him a title and gives him a land or some sort of area, the Lord of some place. Forget the place. Land of Winterbottom. I don't know where it was, but it was kind of cool. And then we have a lot of these little interactive moments where, we have them in the Great Hall. There's a lot of these little looks. And then we have, Brienne and Jaime and Tormund. Well, mostly Brienne and Jaime and Tyrion having a good laugh. They're playing the drinking game, and obviously Tyrion takes it way too far and talks about it's what they kind of did their own version of have you ever, kind of, that game. Have you ever done this or have you ever done that? If you have, then you take a drink. If you haven't, then you don't take a drink. It's kind of one of those sort of games, and then Tyrion takes it too far by saying, have you, basically you're a virgin, and if you say yes, you got to drink, if no, and Brienne just like walks off. And obviously Jaime is like, hey, bro, not cool, and then walks after Lady Brienne. And then Tormund, I love that Tormund comes in and is trying to get together with Brienne, and then she's just like, nah. And then Brienne walks off, and then Tormund sees Jaime walk off after Brienne, and he's just like, oh man, like I can't win. I can't beat that dude. And then straight away, Sansa brings in these two other girls who are like, hey, I like wildlings. And he's like, I'm cool. And he just wanders off with these two girls. And I thought it was kind of interesting too that the Hound was like, nah, I don't want anybody. He's only got one thing in his mind, and that is to kill his brother. It's going to be Clegane Bowl. That will happen. That will happen later in the series. If they don't, they've put so much fan service into this series so far. If they don't give us Clegane Bowl, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. At least I know Clegane Bowl is coming. So Mountain versus the Hound. Who's going to win? Probably it's going to be a double death duel. I imagine my prediction, ping ping. My prediction right here is that the Hound will kill the Mountain. Very, like, a marginal close call. Will kill the Mountain. A very, very close call. But he will get a fatal wound from the Mountain, and he'll still die anyway. But he'll die happy knowing that he killed his brother. So that's my prediction for the Hound versus the Mountain. All right. Anyway, so we've also got Dany confronting Jon about his secret, that bombshell that he dropped in episode 2 about how he's actually the rightful heir to the throne, but he's not all that interested. And he's saying he's going to bend the knee, blah, 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 and all this kind of other nonsense. But we all know he's not, he can't keep a secret, Johnny boy. Even though Dany swears in the secrecies and begs him, don't you dare tell your sisters about this. And he's like, all right, I won't. I actually don't know. I feel like he did kind of promise that he wasn't, but he kind of did anyway, which I kind of was like, oh, Jon can't keep secrets. But I get it. Like, you don't want to keep your sisters in the dark. You don't want to keep your closest family in the dark about something that's pretty significant. So I get it. So I'm just adjusting this mic because this thing is right in my face. And obviously, Sansa can't keep her mouth shut because, she swears. I get Arya's not telling anybody. She probably will tell the Hound on the way up to the King's Landing. But Sansa, she swore. I'm sorry, but she swore. And she's going to tell everybody about, well, she's told Tyrion, which is pretty much telling everybody about what just happened. So they're not going to keep the secret for longer, and that's going to get out. And Tyrion basically mentions that with Varys that, yeah, that secret's going to get out sooner or later. I love, too, that the Hound and Arya show is back on. Hound and Arya are basically going to run off to King's Landing and take care of business. Arya going after the queen piece herself, Cersei. I don't think she wants to gut Cersei. Hopefully, but I don't know if Jaime can get there first, but I can't imagine that they'll get there before Arya and the Hound do, unless something stops them along the way, so we'll see. One of my favorite pieces too was Gendry proposing to Arya and all his feelings, and he just confessed his love for Arya, and I honestly put my hands over my eyes in shock and just like, dude, bro, chill, just chill. And he's confessing his love, and he's asking to marry her because now he's the lord of whatever that place is. And Arya's a sweetheart, though. I mean, she's a cold-hearted killer, but she let him down gently. Like, she could have just cold fish slapped him in the face about it, but she basically said, look, bro, it's not me. Actually, she said, sorry, she did her version of the "it's not you, it's me," basically. Sweetheart. She handled that very well. I thought she could have been super harsh about it, but obviously she cares for Gendry and cares so much for Gendry in the fact that she's not going to let him date him. So let him date her because, well, she's an assassin. You know, she's not a lady, as she says. She's not the person, she's not the role that, she can't fulfill the role that Gendry wants her to fulfill, which is be lady of whatever that place is. So I think it was a mercy to let him down. So good on her for letting her down gently. But it was nice that she kind of made out with him a little bit. It's like, look, you're good looking, but I can't be your lady. And my goodness, we got the fan fiction with the fan fiction alert. Let's get the fan fiction alert coming up here. Fan fiction alert. Brienne and Jaime getting together, hooking up. It was very sweet. It was very tender. It was very tasteful. It was basically a get a little bit undressed from the neck up. We can see that they're naked, but they're not naked. And we just cut to another scene. It was very tasteful. And obviously they wake up in the bed together. It's obviously implied that they had done the deed. They had sex, guys. They had sex. They had done the deed. It was a nice moment. I'm not gonna lie. The tension had been building since, I don't know, whenever they hooked up. These this odd couple that hooked up along the way, and they bring the best out in each other, and which I liked. And man, it was also heartbreaking too when Brienne comes down and Jaime basically gives her this whole speech about how he's doing this for Cersei, and I don't know. I don't think he means that. I honestly believe that he's going to King's Landing to try and save his sister from getting killed, or try to talk some sense into her, or maybe even kill her. But I don't know if he said that speech in earnest. I think he was just saying it just to make Brienne heartbroken, so he would not think about her. But we'll see. But it was heartbreaking to see her cry. The first man she probably ever really loved. And he's basically going off to basically do the deed, essentially. I honestly don't think that Jaime's in love with Cersei anymore. I think that ship sailed. But it was deep, and I really felt for her, and I really hope that there's another arc where they resolve that story later on, because it would be sad if Brienne just doesn't get something out of this, at least. I mean, she could hook up with Tormund, but Tormund, I think the Tormund ship has sailed too. It's sad that he's out of the show now. I don't think he's ever coming back. So he's going back with the wild folk up to the north. I don't know why. I guess they don't want to fight the battle anymore for Jon and Dany, but I guess it makes sense. They did lose a lot of people in the last battle. I mean, it was just I don't know why. Again, tactics, man, tactics. I just feel like Dany is making some poor decisions and Jon is just letting her get away with them, so because he's an idiot and he's doing it all for love. And I do wonder if I guess they do love each other, maybe, but I don't know if I guess it's okay in Targaryen, as they do mention. Varys does mention that Targaryens are cool with marrying your siblings, marrying your relatives, but I don't think the winter folk are particularly happy about you marrying your auntie, particularly. So yeah, there's a little bit of that. Obviously, I love all that treasonous talk about how, and I predicted this too, guys. If you go back and watch previous episodes, I told you, Dany's losing it, man. Dany's losing it. We saw it in the Great Hall. She basically was spiraling out of control. In her mind, there are these thoughts that are overtaking her. Maybe it's like a dragon sickness. I don't know what they call it, but it's essentially, I reckon, the same thing that made her father essentially go mad. Was she's just spiraling out of control. She wants power so bad that she is mistrusting everybody. And there are a lot of things in this episode that are propelling her down this dark path. We are basically creating a Sith Lord, guys. She wants absolute power and she wants to get it no matter what the cost, even if it means killing everybody in the Citadel. So I'm just letting you know, my prediction, you heard it here first. My prediction was coming true. I don't think she's going to be redeemable, unfortunately. She is becoming more and more a dictator and less a person who is, she's not becoming a, I don't know what's the word I'm talking about. She's not becoming a leader that people are gonna love. She's not thinking of the people anymore. She's thinking of herself. And but she thinks she's doing it for the right reasons, and that is a terrible villain to rise up. And oh my gosh, we lost Rhaegar, which is Rhaegar. Is that the one of the, I'm pretty sure that's the name. Hang on, let me double check that. Dany's Dragons names. Dany's Dragons names. We've got Drogo, Rhaegar, and okay, so we know Viserys was the one who got shot down. With Viserys was the one that became the White Walker, became a white dragon, and Rhaegar was Jon's dragon. Now, I actually was a little bit surprised they got Rhaegar. I did not expect that. I actually thought it was going to be at least 2 dragons at the end of this episode, and it was injured, so there was damage. So he did take a bit of a dirt nap, but he recovered, but his wings were clearly broken. We saw as Rhaegar was flying up, he was just struggling to fly. And I thought they animated that really, really well. Like, he really oh, the poor dragon. That's how the animation was really good. Because it's a CG dragon. You had feelings for a CG dragon. So just, those animators did a good job. So good on you guys. But yeah, like seriously, it was really interesting because I actually did not expect. It actually caught me off guard that Euron actually turned around, and then suddenly Euron was there with the giant crossbow. And I actually was thinking that in a lot previous things, that if they did try to attack the Citadel, that they would just bring out these giant crossbows, which we have seen before. You know, dragons are not immune to giant arrows, apparently, which we saw from the Night King. So clearly, they had thought of this, and obviously Dany's going to be a bit more careful about how she rides her dragons, and she was a little bit careless. I mean, she could have easily got Drogo killed, but she just managed to dodge those arrows because plot reasons, I guess. But you get it, reasons, I guess. But it's fine. I can let that slide. I can't let both those dragons die. Come on, guys. We don't want to be cruel. Now, the one that really surprised me, the death that surprised me this episode the most, was Missandei. She didn't deserve to die. I mean, no one deserves to die, but man, I was crushed. I was a little bit crushed that Missandei died. I felt for Grey Worm. Dude, the poor dude just found love. And they were talking about going to the beach together, and I know they were just writing that in so we'd feel something for these characters, and they were talking about retiring somewhere together on the beach away from everybody else, and he'd protect her, and he couldn't protect her in the end because bloody Cersei and the mountain cut off her head. It was tragic, guys. It was tragic, and I really did feel for poor Grey Worm. And man, Dany's losing it, man, because Dany just lost her best friend. So honestly, guys, I can see it. It's spiraling. She's going to take really. She's going to basically lead everybody into death because she is just straight up hurt. Like, she's going to make stupid decisions from this point on. So, and obviously that's where the talk of Varys and Tyrion come in, where they're just talking about like how, look, we're not going to just sit here and just let her destroy everything, which they clearly can see. And we can see it as the audience. We've seen it for a while that she's not in a good place. Like, she's going to destroy everybody if she doesn't get put in, she doesn't get taken down a peg. Like, her decision to basically take everybody who was like half wounded to go and fight Cersei like straight away. I totally agree with Sansa. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agree with Sansa. They shouldn't have gone south. They should have regrouped their forces and try to figure out a better strategy, even figure out a way to talk to Cersei, even if that meant bloodshed. But they should have. They were already weakened, so it made no sense for them. Why would they go ahead with the plan to go and try and get Cersei when they're already kind of hurting? It's just ludicrous. And Jon's just been a real, I don't know, he's been a real wimp. He's just not standing up to her. And I know he's bending a knee, blah, 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 but still, come on, bro. Just say, excuse me, I just burped. Say something, right? Like, she may be a queen, but you got to say something. Don't follow people blindly. That's what dictatorships are. But as Tyrion and Varys do say, she doesn't like listening to people telling her what to do. She's done it her whole life. And she does think that she has destiny on her, which is kind of scary because people who do these things they're right. She's becoming a person that is starting to justify everything that she does. And that's not good. That's not the character. That's how you breed villains. So yeah, she's gone nuts. And let's see. Ghosts. Where poor Ghost completely blanked by Jon Snow. He does mention at least Ghost in this episode, but he doesn't even go up and pet his direwolf. I mean, poor dog, man, just sitting there. He's like looking at. He just looks at him and then walks off. Well, who does that to their dog, man? Honestly, like what's happened to Jon Snow? He used to be a good dude. Now he's just like getting whipped by Dany. He won't say goodbye to his dog. He's probably become this weird dude. I don't know what's happened to Jon. He did nothing in the last episode either. He was just, what happened, Jon? What happened? What's happened to your character? You used to be such a good dude. You knew nothing and you came away with something when you realized you know nothing. But now you really know nothing. You're not doing anything. So yeah, there were lots of these great moments, and I really, really loved that final scene where the Cersei and Dany scene at the end is great. That whole moment where it was probably the tensest I've felt. Well, that's not true. I did actually think the scene where Arya is running through the halls of Winterfell was pretty tense, but this is a different kind of. It was good character tension. It was nice when, Tyrion basically calls out Cersei and tries to appeal to a better nature, but you can see that she's gone. The bit of humanity that Cersei had died when her last son died, and there's just no coming back from that. I don't think she's never going to be the same again. And it's just unfortunate because there's no reason. She has no interest in playing nice. Like she will either die with the crown on her head, or basically she's gonna die with the crown on her head. She's not gonna go down easily. So, my prediction. Another prediction just came to me. I think Sansa. They'll capture Cersei. They're not gonna let her just die. Capture Cersei. The more I think about it, the more I think Jaime's not going to kill her anymore. I actually think it may actually be Sansa. This is my prediction. Sansa is going to give the order for Cersei to get beheaded, and everyone's going to watch. That's my prediction. It's pretty dark, I know, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, that is it. There's tons of stuff. I would love to hear what you guys think of some of my predictions or what you think is going to happen. It was honestly one of my favorite episodes. I laughed a lot this episode. I actually enjoyed all the interactions. We got to add, poor Gendry, man. Just poor Gendry. He's been friend zoned hard in this one. Same with Tormund. I mean, but I didn't think Tormund really had a chance. But Gendry, dude. Rough, but again, could have been worse. Arya could have just smacked him in the face and just said, nah, not gonna happen, bro. But she gave a good reason. I thought that was fair, and I thought she let him down pretty well. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. There's a couple of movies coming up this week. I think Detective Pikachu comes out this week, so I'm probably going to check it out. I don't know if you guys are interested in that review, but I'm going to review it anyway because I'm going to watch it. So anyway, so there you go. I'm pretty actually interested in seeing this movie. It looks pretty good. It's getting good reviews, so I'll let you know how that goes. I'm not a massive Pokemon fan, so hopefully as a person who doesn't really understand Pokemon, this movie will be interesting. So we'll see. There's also a few other movies. We also have John Wick 2, I think it's John Wick 3 coming up soon. And we've also got Aladdin, which is coming out this month, as well as Godzilla. So it's an action-packed month of movies. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.